Hey there everyone, back today with another impressions video, and this one is kind of different. This one is another 3DS game, but this game is Ajit 3D. And what is this? It's on the cover. It explains itself as a Himitsuki success simulation, which is in English, secret base creation simulation, and it's not any easier to say in English. So we've got this game, Ajit. I want to show you the cover really close so you can get an idea of what it's like before I explain it. Um, this game is an underground secret base simulator. So it's an underground secret base simulator, as if you are some kind of like underground superhero or supervillain type of thing. Except it plays like a simulation game. So something like, if you're familiar with games like The Tower, or The Tower is the closest one really, but kind of stuff like SimCity even is similar to this, except it's not like SimCity in that it's not isometric 3D. It's actually it's actually 2D. This game is called Ajit 3D, but there is approximately zero 3D in this game. If you turn the 3D on, it has no meaning whatsoever. It's almost worse if you put the 3D on, because it's everything is on a flat plane, and you're kind of like managing these small things. So when you turn the 3D on, it's totally worthless. But and it actually kind of makes it harder to see what you're doing. But let me explain what the idea is. First, you have to create a base, an underground base. So you have to build an underground power plant and a control room. And you build this in the game. It's the first thing you have to build in some kind of connection to the top of the surface. So usually, you'll build a staircase or an elevator and build your power plant and your control room. It's That's your basic setup. And then from there, the simulation is to keep the base running. So you have an enemy of some kind. It's usually some kind of supervillain who doesn't like that you're muscling in on their underground base territory. So the story of the game is actually that, like, you had this dream since you were a kid to build your own underground base, and you worked for 20 years to saving up money to build this base, and you finally build up the money to build a base, and you find that everybody there's lots of these underground bases. Like, other people have also had this idea, so like there's tons of these underground bases throughout the world, I guess. And you're just the new guy in the underground base market now, so you have to build your base up and basically protect against other bases invading you, which is it's pretty awesome actually when you think about it. It's, as a simulation, it's pretty unique and it's pretty good. But since you're doing this, you have to, after you build your control room and your power plant, you have to build research centers. So you have research centers for items and research centers for monsters and heroes and giant robots. So you can build different types of stuff, and you have factories also to build items. So what you do is you have a set amount of money, but you can invent items to sell. So you can build on top of the base. There is a ground area, and you can build buildings like schools and hospitals and things. And from there, you can sell items. So if you build a hospital, you can sell medicine. Or if you build, it's funny because some things don't make sense. You can build a school, and from the school you can sell like these kind of secret powered boxes, which is like pretty funny. And you can build like different types of like, you can build an apartment building, and from the apartment building you can sell like guns and things, which is it's pretty interesting. But that's how you make your money, by selling things in these buildings above your base. And you also have to build monsters and heroes to protect your base from invaders. So there's lots of different types of, if you've seen like Kamen Rider or something, the monsters in the game are pretty similar to the monsters in something like Kamen Rider, or your Super Sentai type monsters. And there's also large monsters where you can build like flying ships and kind of giant robots and things to also help protect, which is nice. And from there, you also have like it's pretty in depth actually. It's got a lot of I don't I want to say like different types of research you can do and different types of scientists you need. So you have to hire scientists to do research. So there's actually 13 different types of scientists in the game, and they range from things like fighting trainers to like people to run the power plants and people to research. Like your basic chemists and biologists and things. But then you have other things like kind of spirit trainers and what else is there? Like aviators and things. You have all these different types of scientists and researchers you can hire to help build the items you want to build, or the monsters you want to build, or the heroes. And it's all really in depth, which is one of the it's fun once you figure out how to do it. But Ajit here is pretty. It's not easy. It's not easy to learn. I'm gonna take out the manual. Here's the manual. It's pretty thick. If you can see, it's of course it's full color and everything, but you don't really care about that. But it's the kind of game where there's not really a tutorial. If you put in this game in your 3DS and you start it up, you're going. You're not there's no like beginning stage where it'll tell you like, okay, you have to do this, and you can't put this building near this building, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can do this and you can do that. There's none of that. So it makes it really hard. It has like a steep learning curve in the beginning where like I remember I'm playing this and I didn't really read the manual, I just kind of skimmed through it to see this kind of stuff I had to do, and like I started laying out my base and I automatically had problems like the first base I built, I didn't connect the power plant to the surface, and the power plant, if you don't connect it to the surface, fills up with gas, and everybody who works there dies. So you have to connect the power plant to the surface in some way, and you also can't get new recruits if you're not connected to the surface. So it's the kind of thing where like you have to do it, and I keep getting these messages complaining about it, but I didn't thought I was connected and I wasn't, and there's a little bit of trouble I had with the connections too. But also there's things like some buildings can't be on the same level as the power plant. So if you have a power plant on one level, you can't put a research facility on the same like plane as the power plant, because apparently some kind of like electricity waves ruin the research. And then you can't put any type of factories near the kind of research facilities, because the noise from the factories interrupts the research, and the research facilities are annoying to the base people, to the production people who want to be in a kind of secret location. So like you have to put the factories lower than everything else and out of the way from other things. So it's like kind of thing where you have to manage like where everything goes and how each thing interacts, and you have to really pay attention to it, or the scientists will revolt. Scientists all have like this kind of anger meter, and it like fills up as they work. So if you put somebody on a project, like maybe their anger meter will go up by 6 points or 10 points or something, depending on how big the project is. But you have all these different types of, I don't know, depending on what happens. Like if you put them to work in a kind of research place near a factory, their anger goes way up really quickly, so they'll be at like 90 in a minute, and 100 is the maximum. So if they're at 100, they'll quit, but at 90 they get angry and they'll start sending you messages like we can't work here anymore, and sometimes they'll just quit working and walk off. And from there you have to put them in like a kind of break area. You have like a break room you have to build, and the break room has like big chairs and lamps in it. They'll all just go sit in there and like under the lamps and the big chairs. So until their anger level goes down, and then you can send them back to work. So there's a lot of stuff to manage. There's a whole like economy going on with the amount of money you have, and the pay you have to pay your scientists, and their anger levels, and the things you're building for the defense and attacking of other bases. You have a lot of stuff to manage, and very little information from the game itself without reading the manual. So it makes it pretty hard to learn at first. So that's probably the biggest downside to this game. But once you learn it, it's a lot of fun if you like simulation games. Especially, I want to say, especially the tower. If you've never seen the tower, it's Sim Tower. It's very similar because it's like an elevator simulator. You have to keep where the elevators and stairs are connected to each room, so the scientists and your people, your factory workers and stuff, can get to their areas faster and efficiently. You also want to keep it like somewhat difficult for in some other places, probably near the top where invaders might come. So you can put a lot of traps and things in hallways, which is another interesting part. It's really like uh, building your supervillain base underground and other supervillains to try to attack your supervillain base. So it's kind of like a wacky simulation. But this is actually the fourth game in the series. There are three games on the original PlayStation in this series, and the first one is on the PlayStation, and apparently it's not so well done out, but it's like the kind of game that wasn't so great, but it had a lot of promise. So they made a second one, and everybody apparently loves the second one. It's got like a Kamen Rider crossover where you can build Kamen Riders, and the third one is one of the most expensive games on the PlayStation currently because it was apparently rare. And it was the reason I even bought this one was because I'd always seen that game Ajit 3 floating around in shops, and it's always like over $100. And I thought, well, I'm never going to buy that, but it would be cool to play it at some point. And when I saw that there was a 3DS one, and this game actually, wow, it actually came out like about 2 years ago, maybe, or a year and a half, or 2 years ago, and I had never really noticed. It came out in, I think, 2011 is what it says on the box here. So, yeah, 2011 for this. So it came out a while back, and I had never heard of it, and I was wandering around a shop, and I saw it in a shop, and it was on sale for like $30 new, and which is good because it's actually, this game used is normally about $45. It's probably a little bit rare for 3DS games. So I want to say it'd probably be unplayable if you didn't read Japanese. So anyone who I got excited about the game, sorry, but if you can read Japanese, go for it. It's a fun simulation if you like simulation games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This video went way longer than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be pretty quick, but apparently not. It's apparently pretty quick as 15 minutes. But yeah, so Ajit 3D, good stuff on the 3DS. If you like simulation games, it's definitely something you would probably want to check out. I don't know if there's any kind of patches for it, but it would probably be an easy game to patch, only because there's not a lot of talking or anything. I mean, there are voiced. You have when the enemies attack, they have voices, and they yell at you and tell you they're gonna smash your base and whatever. And you have advisors who will also talk to you. So that's all voiced and stuff. So it's not like, I mean, it's a pretty cheap game. It looks like the PS1, straight up PS1 game on the 3DS, but you can't really complain. It's a simulation game, and you know what you're getting into. You're not like really playing simulation games on a handheld for their huge graphics, huge graphic fidelity or whatever. You're really going for the fun of the simulation, and this fun simulation is what this game is. It's very Sim Tower-ish. So that's about it. I'm gonna end this video, and I will catch you guys next time.